out here.
Yeah,
if I had the Rodecaster Pro 2,
that wouldn't have happened. Yeah,
we wouldn't have had to take 2 right now. We would have just
but you need the headphones, bro. That's why everyone wears the headphones.
Yeah, but it's like 40 degrees here.
It is hot
in Brisbane.
Right. Although with the air cons here at the house,
are really good.
It's really nice.
Like, it's so refreshing to come into this building.
And especially when it rains, it's just like, this is beautiful. It's like a bath in here.
It's like a swimming pool.
Oh, mate.
So, James,
cheers.
Cheers.
Wait, to the future.
To the future.
I love that second time around banter.
All right. So tell me about, James, we're talking about what's happening with our churches, what's happening with FutureChurch and Collective, and just want to give people a bit of a backstory on how this thing kind of came together. I assume people know by now that we are going to be working together, but what does that mean and what does it kind of look like? Our first conversation was about a year ago. I called you up because somebody said, call James. He knows Brisbane and he's doing outreach stuff.
Who was that somebody?
That was Chris Mulhare.
Chris Mulhare. Okay, I love Chris.
Yeah, Chris is great. He's on our board and is a legend. So he's like, cool, give James a call. He gave me a couple other guys to call as well. And so I called and you started talking about, giving me a bit of download on Australian Church, but also you joked in there like, why don't we just do it together? Just Future Collective, something like that. And I just kind of laughed because who says that to someone I never met? But
that's me, bro. That's me.
That's you, brother.
I'm a little crazy.
You are, but also very thoughtful. So talk to me about then, like you had been thinking about this for a while and waiting for the right time.
Yeah, so me and Larissa have been talking about giving our congregation and not leading a congregation. Like I love winning souls. I love preaching the gospel, and then that initial process of planting the seeds. I really see myself as just a good old farmer. I love that, bro. But when someone gets saved and joins a local church, or maybe Christians join a local church, I lack energy. I guess grace is a spiritual word. I don't have the grace then to help those people grow, and that's so important. Right. But it's just not what I'm gifted to do. When it comes to gathering people, like over the last 7 years, we've gathered thousands of people in this church. They get saved, maybe find God again, something like that, and then they filter out into other churches. I could tell you 100 different stories.
Sure.
But we were like, maybe running a congregation isn't what we should do, but in our context, that's what you do. Like, there was no real other, way of being a pastor or reaching the Lord. You just start a church or work for another church. So we didn't have a clue. We were talking about this stuff. We're like, we don't know what to do. We're like, let's try and raise up a campus pastor, And we tried that 2 or 3 times, and it never worked out. Never in any bad reason. The first guys we were working with, Dan and Haley, the most amazing people. They're now actually starting a church, which is awesome. And it's so exciting, and that's what God's called them to do. Sam and Jazz, great friends of ours, still great friends, killing it in media, and his business is blowing up, moving to America, feeling God. So awesome. Didn't work out. And then we've been talking about it, nothing worked through, and then the moment that we started chatting, I don't know, like I was joking about it, but from the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaks. I was like, maybe this is the option. But I guess then I had the great tension, right? Because as much as, pastors don't want to talk about it, when your livelihood is connected to the church you run, then there's a whole nother element of decision-making. And it colludes everything. As much as we don't want money to collude our decision-making process.
It's not just money. It's just making a living.
And
when you've
feeding your children.
When you've done this for so long, it's like I haven't done anything else for the average pastor. Yeah. It is hard to step out and do something else.
Totally.
I would totally get that.
Yeah. And so, I was there, but then I was like, well, maybe we just need to give this to someone else, this congregation to someone else. But who that person is, I don't know. And we've been thinking like that. And then you just came along, bro. We just connected. And then, it was a roller coaster. We had many conversations. I was like, yep, you take it. And then other conversations like, nah, I've got a fresh wind, let's do this.
Which I was rooting for and just wanted to be a friend, sounding board for you in that process. Because I think 7 years is a bit of a turning point.
It is.
I almost left Japan at 7 years.
Yep.
I was like centimeters away from that.
But then you went for another 7.
And then I had another, I got a fresh win and I went for another 7 and then I left at 14.
Yeah.
So I definitely feel like there's some kind of change point naturally there. It may not be exactly 7, but it's around that time when things change.
Biblical, bro. I get that.
It happens. So you were in the middle of that. I could see that.
Yeah.
And wanted to just be a friend to help you through that. And to be honest, I didn't really expect this to happen.
Mm-hmm.
I just thought I'll be a friend for you to walk through that process with you.
Which is so beautiful.
Yep.
That's where the wonderful things happen, eh?
Yeah, definitely. So talk to us then about just the story. What happened?
Yep.
February was a big changing point for you in this building, in the house. Which, by the way, the house is a building name.
Yes.
It's not the church name.
No, it's the name of a building.
This building.
Which is more of a building for the community and essentially for the kingdom.
Right.
This building exists for the expansion of the kingdom, not for the expansion of our church, like James and Larissa's church. The moment you want to move here, it's like, use the house. Another church is pioneering, come use the house. Use it for free. Like, we don't want to charge. We want to use it for free. Collective will pay for it. You can use it. The house is the name of the building.
So in February it flooded.
It flooded. I'll tell you, after that flood, and it wasn't about the flood, after it, I just felt a grace lift off my life for this congregation here. And I thought, well, am I being selfish? Is this wrong, this feeling I'm having? And so that was the great battle I started to have within. Like, okay, wait, am I just like tired, or is this a God thing? Working all that through. So I put out a fleece to God, because I was like, when this flood happened, I'm like, okay, we can't stay at the house as a congregation. We need to find another thing. Essentially, I put out a fleece with God. God, if you want me to keep doing this, you need to open the way to a new building. And then started talking to the Uniting Church. Some great opportunities came up. I was just mind blown. I was
Seemed perfect.
It was unbelievable. Like this perfect church in Wilston. And it was all going ahead. We're meeting up, taking our team there, taking the board there. Everyone's on board, loving it. They say, put in a proposal. It's all looking good. We put in a proposal. And then the guy that we've been talking to takes it to the boss. And long story short, something was going to happen in about 2 or 3 years at that church. It had been brought forward to March next year. No one saw that coming. Right. So then I get a phone call out of nowhere saying, look, James, we've just heard that this hearing has been brought forward to March, so we don't want to sign the lease. We wouldn't want to do that.
Just some legal stuff was going on in the background.
Yeah, well, they just wanted to change the zoning on the building so that they could do others. It's heritage listed. They're trying to get rid of the heritage listing.
Gotcha.
Nothing weird, but which is really smart. And then that fell through. And when I got that phone call, this is funny. So the day before I got that phone call, you and me are sitting down at Eden because you're looking for a building. But it's hard just to land a building when you want to get started
in the West
quick.
End.
Yeah.
We were looking for a building in the West End. We almost had a couple of buildings ready to go forwards. And for some reason, our board just had more questions. Like it just... We needed to go slower, and I needed to cross more T's, and so we were losing buildings during that time. But in hindsight, you can see that was the right thing.
It was the God thing.
It was the God thing, and I wasn't frustrated because I just always had a sense of, if I push it, I've got to keep pushing.
Well, we could just do a podcast on that, couldn't we?
Exactly. So if this is a God thing. God will make that way, and there's plenty of other hard work, but I want to live in that grace lane.
Love that.
It wasn't working. And February was coming, launch day was coming for FutureChurch. Our team is growing. Mm-hmm. It's exciting. People are fired up, ready for launch, but we just couldn't get the building. And part of the way that we were strategizing around building this church was around having a building that our media outreach and media company is carrying the load of.
Beautiful.
And then being able to give that to the church to use. Mm-hmm. So that was a big part of our strategy. And
love that.
And suddenly it wasn't happening. Mm. So I came to you and said, dude, we're not going to get our building in time. Could we take your lease for a while when you move to Wilston?
And I'm like, absolutely, that's perfect.
Right.
What a great plan that is. Like,
it seemed like, oh, that's the most obvious plan. Let's do that.
And it's an easy start, even though it's not a perfect building. When you're pioneering, you don't need the perfect building, right?
Sure.
You need something stable. So we had that chat. Well, I think it was on a Wednesday. It was at our cafe at Eden. Can I take him? Like, absolutely, this is great. I'll speak to the landlord. Let's get that sorted. And then the next day, I get the phone call from Wilston saying, sorry, this is not going to happen. And so I've just said yes to you. They've said no to me. And for me, it was like, this is as clear as day. All arrows, God is saying, just hand this thing on to Luke. Let Luke lead it. Luke and Azumi can lead this church congregation, and just give the congregation to him. They can meet at the house, and then essentially, I mean, you don't want to be here forever, but it's a great launching pad.
Yep.
And so for me, it was as clear as day. All roads were leading to the same destination.
So you called me back the next day and said, you can't have it.
Yeah, I essentially called you back and said, bro, we didn't get the other building. I don't know what this means. It's just a conversation right now, but I don't know what we're going to do.
So I was about to fly to America that weekend to build relationships and also, get some support to start this church in a building. And then this conversation kind of threw a spanner in that works because I didn't have anything to present in America.
Wow. I didn't even know that. I wasn't even aware of that. But yeah.
So it was just kind of, but I just had a strange piece about it. Like, I just felt like I've done what I can do. Mm-hmm. Now, God, it's your turn. I'll just leave it there.
Wow.
I was out of options. I could go and bang on doors, but like, I just felt like something was happening that was beyond my thinking.
I love it, I love being in that place where you're just stuck and only God can move,
So we left it, and then you called me back. I think you wrote to me on Saturday, dude, I want to talk to you about church.
Yeah, let's get together.
Let's get together on Monday. And I said, dude, I'm not going to be here Monday. I'm going to America Sunday night.
That's right.
And I said, let's meet for lunch on Sunday.
That's right, yep.
So we got together. I knew what that conversation was going to be.
You felt it coming.
Yeah.
Yeah.
After you lost the venue, I could kind of sense.
Well,
yeah.
I felt it was the right thing.
Yep.
In that process, those couple of days, I was praying about it. I was thinking about it. Because obviously you don't want to make rash decisions when you're running a church.
Yep.
And I had this overwhelming sense that God had, and then I was praying about it. It was one Sunday morning. It was the Sunday morning, bro, before you and me got together. I was like, because I'm the kind of guy, I need a word from God on any decision I make in my life, and from the Bible. I need a word from the Bible on any decision I can make. So I'm praying about it. I said to Larissa, I need 5 minutes. This is literally just before we left for church. I'm like, I need 5 minutes. Go for a walk, sit on my bench down near the creek near my house. And I'm looking around and I'm looking at all these trees. And God just says to me, like, you're a gardener. You plant seeds. And I was like, okay, that's like, and I was looking around, all these trees are growing. It's like, my job is not to water these trees. I just plant them. And like, that's what I got. And then I was like, well, what's that even mean? And then the Holy Spirit just brought to my mind where Paul is talking to a group of churches, and saying, stop talking about who leads this church and who leads that church. Stop it. It's not about who leads what. And then Paul says, I, Paul, planted, Apollos watered, and God brought the increase.
Yep.
It's about God running his church. And that's like, I've always had a kingdom heart. I don't care about my church. I don't even care about your church. I care about God's church, right? And whatever's best for God's church, let's do that. And as soon as I read it, I was like, yes, God called me to plant this congregation, but I'm not the one to water it. Luke's going to water it. And I just had that sense. It took me 5 minutes, bro. It just doesn't take long to get a word from God, eh? Went back home, said, babe, let's go to church. Caught up with you, said, mate, I know I planted this to give to you. And so that was our chat, wasn't it?
So we talked through some of the details of that.
Yeah.
And we had said yes. We would bring in that congregation into FutureChurch.
Yeah.
So that was some of the stuff we talked through. This is not a merger of churches.
Yeah, that's right.
This is the congregation.
Yeah.
Coming into FutureChurch and
Yes.
into our leadership structure and pastoral care.
Yeah.
And our leadership and our
and your vision.
Our vision for that. And we would love as many people as are willing to jump in on that. The leadership team is coming in,
of course,
into that and is excited about it, which has been a great blessing. And we've just had a lot of support so far from that. So that's, from our perspective, we will continue to keep launching February 13. Is it February 12? February 12, I think it is.
Sure.
I think it's the second week of February. I think it's February 12 is launch day for us. So we will come back January as FutureChurch together and just basically do a whole lot of training and onboarding during that month for everyone to get on the same page. And
I'm going to be here. I can't wait. I'm so excited for January, bro.
Yeah.
I'm excited to be here and just see you lead this thing, bro. I'm so excited, just to be part of that and see that journey. It's going to be phenomenal.
Yeah, it's going to. We're really excited. Izumi and I are both thrilled to be able to do it. Love pastoring people, love discipling people, training leaders. That's kind of our bread and butter has been that. So
can I say something? If you're listening to this podcast and you're not at a church, maybe you've been away from church, or maybe you've just never even been to church, you don't even know God, you want to come to FutureChurch. I'm telling you right now, like, I've got a heart for the Church of Australia. I've got a vision for the future of the Church of Australia. That is my heart. And I wouldn't be partnering with people if I thought they were the old wineskin. And I know that Luke and Izumi, what they're doing here in Australia is so special. If you want to be part of the new thing that's happening in Australia, the new wineskin, God's always doing a new thing. It's biblical. God is doing a new thing. There's always a new song being written from heaven, and there's a new thing happening in Australia. You guys are on the front edge of that. And I want to encourage everyone, get to this church. Feb 12. Before that, in January, come along, FutureChurch. I'm telling you, your life will be better for it. Do it.
Yeah, that's our prayer.
I just believe that, bro.
Yep. So that's what we're doing. We're excited for it.
It's going to be amazing.
And then, so I guess the question is, where does that leave you?
Yeah.
And what are you doing?
Okay, so I'm still working that through. I feel this huge call. I think the Australian church is in a very weird position. There's so much stuff going on after COVID. And there is like the polar opposite ends.
Do you think that just brought it out?
It brought it out. It brought it out. We were streaming along. And I think more than anything, when I say the Australian church, let me just clarify. The modern Australian church, which has been the fastest growing movement of Christians in Australia until last year. It's
your Pentecostal kind of stream.
Your Pentecostal stream. I don't like titles. I don't like using that word Pentecostal. What's like
it doesn't mean much to me, but I think
people,
if you understand what I'm saying.
Yes, the Pentecostal church.
The
lively, fun, the show, the personalities, the falling over, the praying the power of God.
Is that still a thing?
Well, it is into some Pentecostal churches, which is cool. It's fun. Like each to their own.
So there's a bit of a spectrum
There
across
is
that.
a huge spectrum.
Across that, yeah.
And I think there's a prayer that Jesus prays in John 17. He prays first of all for the disciples that they would be one as Jesus and the Father are one, because Jesus is God. And then he says, and now I also pray for those that will believe. That's us. That's you and me. He says, I pray that they would be one so that the world will know that God loves them. And I think the greatest evangelism strategy for Australia is for the church to unite, to put all of our differences aside and to unite. And I am on a mission to do that, because I want to win Australia to Jesus. The only way we're going to do that is if we can get a group of pastors and churches that put all of their differences aside and unite around one thing, and that is Christ Jesus, the foundation of our church. So I'm on a mission to do that. I'm going to be starting a podcast talking into churches, talking to Christians, because I want to win Australia to Jesus. And this is my strategy.
So you have like a really unique perspective around evangelism or sharing Jesus with people, because I mean, I don't know any other pastor who's talking to more non-church people than you, because
I
literally
do all day, every day.
You're doing that every day and interacting with that. And I've seen you do it, and it is special.
Bro, it's amazing. Yeah. And here's the thing, I spent so much time with non-Christians. They want to be part of the church, bro. Like here at the house, like I'm sure everyone has seen the journey here at the house. When we had the cafe, we had like the most influential people from Brisbane part of our community, because they want to be, they've said these words to me, that they want to be part of the church. They just won't fit into what Australia is offering. Like essentially the Australian church, come to a Sunday and that's how you can be part of our community. So many people are not ready for that, right? Like Jesus didn't say that. Jesus went to them. He went to us, met them where they were at, and then walked people through the journey.
So the cafe was one of the ways that you did that.
One of the ways, yes. And I have a heart to get every church thinking like that. Like,
how can we be open?
Yes,
7 days
we need to be open every day, and we need to. Our organisations need to be for people every day, so that we can disciple people. You know, you know, when Jesus says, "Go into the world and make disciples," the word "make" is not in there. We've added that, because we're not making anything. What Jesus says is go into the world and disciple people. And so that's not, we're not making anything. So the moment you meet a non-Christian, you are fulfilling the Great Commission.
Yep.
And you start walking with them.
Yep.
I think that's what I want to do, bro. I want to help every church make that transition.
I think if you're a pastor who wants to learn how to get your church open, and it's not just opening a cafe, because a lot of churches open cafes and they fail.
Yeah.
Like the majority of them, I would say. And what you've done is a little bit different in that you have basically said, there's a cafe, but basically welcome to church.
Yeah, exactly.
Welcome to our community. So it's a little bit broadening that scope of what church could be. So welcome into the community. So when people walk into your cafes, I've seen you do this. It's really like you're welcoming them into church. Into church.
Yeah, literally.
And you're really interacting and trying to pastor them in that way. And I'm sure that leads to a lot of interesting conversations.
Right. The amount of I've shared the gospel with literally thousands of people in the last 3 years. Okay. And I'm not like underground sharing the gospel. Yep. I mean like, oh yeah, we're a church here. Oh, okay. What's that? Well, and then straight into the gospel.
And then those people are coming, because Australia has such a local cafe vibe, which is unique in the world, by the way.
It is, yeah.
Just going to your locals, they often come back and are part of that evangelistic strategy.
We're discipling
now
them.
You are, you definitely starting that journey, and then you are saying to those people from now, you're going to say to those people, you should join a local church.
Yeah.
Somewhere around you. Yeah. Get involved in the Sunday service and all of that sort of stuff.
It's so important for people to find that local congregation. I remember catching up with like literally thousands of people and thinking to myself, I don't want these people to join my Sunday because what they're getting in the cafe is far better than what they're going to get if they come on Sunday, because I wasn't watering that Sunday, right?
Sure.
And so that was my problem.
Yep.
I had like a disconnect because I'm an evangelist, I'm a plead Santa, I'm a seed planter.
It is the season.
But now I feel I'm going to be a great gift to the kingdom because I'm just going to connect all these people into local church congregations when they're ready.
Yeah.
And that's going to be amazing. And I'd love to partner with you. If you want non-Christians to come to your church, let me know because I got heaps of them. I just need good churches to put them.
Yep. Cool. So that's you and Larissa are going to be available to consult with churches about how to get your church more outward focused in terms of maybe you thought about starting a cafe or starting something. It's not just cafe.
It's not a cafe. It's anything. Oh my gosh. Like cafes are just like something.
You do Pilates.
Pilates.
Obviously we're doing media stuff. That's our kind of wheelhouse. There's stuff in your church that you could be presenting to the world in the week that would be not just a service, but a service with pastoral care attached to it, and not separating it from the church in that sense. So, so people can get in touch with you.
Yeah, absolutely. You can do that. Obviously, I need to feed my family, so I'm trying to work out how that works. I think essentially it'll be like a 1-year package where I can be like almost an evangelism consultant. I can coach their youth pastors. I think youth are they're obviously the next generation of the church. They're the ones that are going to carry the church of the future. I'm so passionate about helping youth pastors, and we need that in Australia right now. There's been a decline in our youth, and I don't know what's going on, but I want to fix it.
Yep. Awesome. So that's what's happening. Get in touch. That's a bit of the story. We're excited. We're excited to be launching February.
Yeah, Feb 12, bro. I'm so pumped.
It's going to be incredible.
We're going to have to buy more chairs, bro.
We will, yeah.
We literally, all together with our other chairs, is 100, but we're going to need probably 200, I reckon.
We'll fit them in. We're renovating here. We're building more kids spaces.
Yep.
We have a lot of kids, so love that.
Already, there's like 5 times as many kids as the church that I was running.
It's amazing. It's already as many kids as adults in our team.
And there's so many young adults going to be here.
Yep.
It's just everyone. It's a generational church, bro. And I'm so excited for that.
Really excited. So we'll turn this place into studios, podcasting. This will be
in our studio, our studio, because I love what you're doing. I want to be part of it.
An actual studio here for video podcasting. I mean, this is makeshift, but we'll make it heaps better. And then staging and cyc walls and all this stuff to
that.
Video and photography. And
do you need more money to make that happen right now?
Do.
Like, can people give or what?
Yeah. So FutureChurch.io, you can see the bank account details there. If you want to give,
we need more money to make this happen. Give. We need renovations. If you got $1 million, please. This is the time to give. Thank you.
We don't need $1 million yet. But we could.
But for the next project too.
Yeah, we can come back to that. But for this project,
sorry, I've just been told not $1 million.
Not $1 million. Just
less than that.
Just give us less than that. That's fine. Faithful
well,
little.
You can give collective the rest. All right.
So your organisation will still be there.
We still will be running a not-for-profit organisation.
Yep, that is for the advancement of religion. It's the same.
Yes, for the advancement of religion, for the proselytation,
which is a terrible thing,
gospel,
isn't it? It's really the advancement of Jesus.
Yeah, it's the advancement of the kingdom of heaven.
Exactly.
That, and we'll still do that, but we'll be a missional style church. We will not have a Sunday service. We will encourage everyone that's part of our community to find local church congregations.
Cool.
That's where it happens.
Amazing, man. Well, appreciate you. Have a great week. If you've got questions, comments, leave them below. James would love to hear from you.
I would love to hear from you because I don't know how I'm going to feed my family in 2023. So,
I'll just sell that Range Rover.
Yeah, I might have to. I won't get much for it. It's a bit dumbed up.
Have a great week, guys.